Hey guys, it's Will from Going Awesome Places, and I'm in Rapa Nui, or better known as Easter Island. So we've been spending the past 8 days exploring the island, and we really want to show you some of the best things you can do here. And I hope you guys enjoy the island as much as we have.
Let's start with number 10. There's some debate about what these red hats are on the Moai, but the most accepted theory is that these represent traditional top knots that men used to have. In fact, most Moai had them, but many have fallen over. Their distinct red color comes from the red scoria volcanic rock from Puna Pau. This is less impressive than Rano Raraku, but it's still very cool to see the ridiculous effort that they put in for their Moai. In a completely separate part of the island, they had to cut out this red stone, shape it into a cylinder, roll it down the hill, bring it to the Ahu, where it's paired then with its Moai and somehow lifted. Puna Pau also has great views of Hangaroa. Now before we get too far, what you need to know is that currently, you first need to buy a Rapa Nui National Park Pass, and you also need a local guide to visit the main sites. That's why we booked tours with Green Island Tours. They're the ones that took us around to all of the different managed Moai sites around Rapa Nui. Now the reality is that there are also many non-managed sites as well, and these are the ones where they don't have a gate or guards. That's why we were able to rent a car later and visit a bunch of these on our own. Now you know. Okay, back to the list. At number 9 we have North Coast Adventurer. This is the name of the guided hike by Green Island Tours. If you look at all the Moai marked on this map, from the main ones and all the smaller dots as well, there are a ton around the northwestern coast. This part of the island isn't populated and has no roads either, making it one of the least traveled locations on Rapa Nui. This is exactly what the North Coast hike covers. It starts at the end of the road here and ends off in Anakena here. It's a one-way hike, which means you need to be dropped off and picked up. While you're effectively following the coast, there's no obvious trail, so you really want a knowledgeable guide that can point out all of the Ahu, Moai, petroglyphs, caves, and other ruins. For those that have the time, spend the extra days on Rapa Nui going off the beaten path. It's here that you'll also get to see the small Moai where explorers attempted to cut its head off with a saw. Luckily, they didn't get away with it. Easter Island isn't all about the Moai. As you've seen so far, there are natural cave structures that have formed from its volcanic past. One of the best examples of this is a place called Te Pahu. When you get here, you'll see openings in the ground, and sprouting from them are avocado trees, banana trees, and other vegetation. This all comes from the lava tubes that were created from the lava that flowed through here a long time ago. These caves have been used for generations, mainly as shelter. This is a fascinating visit, and for us was part of the Historic Pathways tour with Green Island Tours. I have mixed feelings about this one because it's not necessarily a great dive in terms of aquatic life and coral, but it is pretty cool to see an underwater Moai just off the coast of Hangaroa. The thing is, it's not even an authentic Moai, and it's said to be a prop for the movie Rapa Nui back in 1994, a movie produced by Kevin Costner that was considered a pretty big flop. Still, for the scuba divers watching, it's a cool bucket list item to do while you're out here and helps break up your itinerary a bit. Mike Rapu is the shop we used and was quite reasonable in price, coming in at $85 for the one dive between two people. At number 6, an evening activity you can't miss is the ballet Kari Kari, a Rapa Nui performance that highlights dance and music. You have the option of purchasing it as a bundle with dinner, but from the reviews we read, it just isn't worth it, so we say just stick to the show itself, which is 90 minutes. It's not a massive theater, and on most nights, it should be pretty easy to buy tickets on the spot. There's plenty of space to enjoy the show, and there really isn't a bad seat in the house. The show is broken down into several different acts, and for those that are wanting to show off their moves, there are a few opportunities to go up on stage. Anakena is an important Moai site. Now, Anakena itself refers to an area which includes the beach and its two platforms, Ahu Nau Nau and Ahu Aturi Huki. Being that this is right at the beach, which is public, this is one of the two main sites that don't require a park pass. This is probably one of the most idyllic settings for Moai, as Ahunau is surrounded by palm trees, white sand beach, and often has horses roaming around. With your guide, you'll notice the details in their carvings, the top knots, petroglyphs, and repurposing of old stones. Notice on the lower right that there's an older head that they just put into the Ahu's foundation. And number 4 is Orongo. This is a place that most people won't be familiar with, but actually is quite significant in Rapa Nui's history. The loose history is that as resources started to dwindle, there needed to be a way to manage the different tribes and for somebody to be in control. This is when a new cult of the Birdman emerged, and as part of that, there was a competition where each tribe selected their finest to climb down this crater down to the ocean, swim over to the Motu here, grab the first Manutara egg laid, and then swim back and be the first through the finish line. The leader of that tribe would then become the ruling tribe. Orongo is where this competition took place, and important people would stay up here, celebrate, and watch it unfold across many days. Besides all that history, the view of the crater Rano Raraku is quite spectacular. Tahai is the main Moai site adjacent to the town of Hangaroa and the easiest one to get to. In fact, this was literally next door to us at Takarua Lodge. Being so close to town, this is the second Moai site that doesn't require a ticket to enter and doesn't really have opening and closing hours either. The ceremonial complex consists of 2 ahu and a canoe ramp in between them. Behind, you'll see great examples of foundations of canoe-shaped dwellings and also stone buildings that were actually there to store chickens. With the Moai gazing inland, this is a popular spot to come watch the sunset. Our second favorite spot is Tongariki, which you'll come back for multiple times. During the day, come here and study the 15 Moai standing tall and notice how different each one is in stature, body size, and facial structure. The view is impressive whether from the front, behind, or further back. You'll also find important petroglyphs here, and even one Moai that sadly was oh so close to being raised but likely broke a few hundred meters away. Make sure to also come back for sunrise, which is a separate tour so you can see the sunrise from behind, a truly magical sight. We think the most jaw-dropping and insightful spot on the island is Rano Raraku, which is the quarry on the side of a volcanic crater. Think of this as the place where the Moai were born. What's really helped archaeologists understand the Rapa Nui is that in a singular location, you can see Moai at all stages of development. You have the Moai that are still part of the volcanic crater and half carved, some are just being started, while others have their keel already shaped, and the last step would be to just have that bottom cut off. When you look up the slope, it's a Where's Waldo of Moai of all shapes, sizes, and facing all directions. Down below, you also have Moai littered all over, and that's because these were carving pits. Excavation of this work and all the Moai you've seen across the island shows that there are whole bodies below the earth. This is where the carvers would meticulously finish shaping the Moai and put the final touches before they needed to be transported away. From here, you can tell how massive of an operation this was, and also how abruptly they stopped when they literally ran out of resources and had to fend for themselves.
Easter Island is truly a magical and mysterious place all at once, and hopefully this video gives you an idea of some of the best things to do while you're out here and also which guide to use while you're on Rapa Nui. Make sure before you go to head over to the blog, because that's where it's going to have a treasure trove of information. That's going to be the itinerary, the full travel guide that you'll definitely want to read before you come here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on Going Awesome Places.